R.I.P. Mosgard, you were a real one. It's funny how most of the Don Quixotes we've seen were kind-hearted people, and then you just have Doflamingo sitting there who's literally the spawn of the devil. Doflamingo's the goat, man. But anyways, as sad as the death was, it definitely wasn't the focal point of this chapter. We see that the man that executed Mosgard is the leader of the Holy Knights. He's looking cold and goofy as hell at the same time. Shanks' dad? Nah, I'm joking. Saint Figarland Garling. Most of you already know the reason why I brought up Shanks, but if you don't, it's because it's highly likely that Shanks is related to Garling, and this is because of Film Red. It was in Film Red where the Gorosei heavily imply that Shanks is from the Figarland family. It was also revealed that the Roger pirates found a baby Shanks in a treasure chest which they got from God Valley, and it just so happens that this Figarland Garling guy was the ruler of God Valley, or at the very least he distinguished himself there. It's looking undeniable now that Shanks is somehow related to him. Another possible connection which could be very interesting is that the Gorosei of the word Garling could come out to the number 580. And in chapter 580, Shanks halted the Marineford War. In both cases, it looks like Shanks and Garling exerted their powers using their family name to pass judgment. I mean, if they're able to pass judgment on celestial dragons themselves, then that just goes to show how they're in a different bracket. Now, assuming they're related, this guy definitely has monstrous conqueror's haki. We can tell that just by looking at Shanks. But I'm still saying that Figarland Garling may be a low to mid top tier, and that's mainly down to his age. I mean, if this guy was kicking about during God Valley times, which was around 40 years ago, then he's at least in the 70s. Bro's definitely got them grey hairs, and if he does, then he's cosplaying the moon pretty well. But since we're talking about his trim, I find it interesting how Oda's decided to associate the moon with the Figarlands. You see, from the word Figarland, we can get the word fig, and in Greek and Roman mythology, figs or fig trees are often associated with lunar deities. Oda definitely knew what he was doing associating the moon with the Figarlands. However, this chapter you can see that Oda has not just associated a celestial body with the Figarlands, but also with the Gorosei. Interestingly, each of the 5 Gorosei are named after the 5 planets which were worshipped as gods in Roman mythology. Some of their names sound cold, and others, yeah, I don't know. I mean, having Godhead Top Man as a name is absolutely criminal. I swear, whoever named this guy needs to chill out. Now that we got the reveal that each of the Gorosei represent a planet, we can draw a lot of interpretation from this. Right now, the 5 elder planets are orbiting around the Earth, which is Imu. Now, of course, in real life, this is not the case. The planets orbit around the sun. But when we look back at this model of the One Piece universe, it seems that the people of the One Piece world follow a geocentric perspective on the solar system, meaning they think that all celestial bodies orbit around the Earth, which is the same belief that the people of ancient Rome had. And the people of ancient Rome did not hold the sun or the moon in as high as a regard as they did with the other planets, both being represented by Luffy and Garling respectively. But what were the people of ancient Rome's views on the remaining 3 planets? Uranus, Neptune and Pluto. To put it simply, they weren't worshipped because they weren't known or discovered at the time. And it just so happens that these are the 3 planets the ancient weapons are named after. And yes, I know Pluto's not a planet, but let's just go with it. Now this brings me on to a theory that's been circulating in the community. The ancient weapons are named after these planets, and the Gorosei are also named after planets. I think that the current Gorosei members or their ancestors are creators of or wielders of ancient weapons, and these are the ancient weapons which sided with Imu during the Void Century. And Uranus, Poseidon and Pluton sided with Joyboy. Now you may be thinking, hold on, if the world government have possession of 5 ancient weapons, then why are they not the dominating power in the One Piece world? Well, that's because the ancient weapons associated with the Gorosei were destroyed during the Void Century. It could even be that the ancient weapons which sided with Joyboy were responsible for destroying them. Perhaps the previous Poseidon from 800 years ago was defeated by one of these ancient weapons from the enemy side. Just like how the ancient weapon Poseidon is associated with the sea, I think that the corresponding ancient weapons of each of the Goroseis are associated with their title. For example, the power of the ancient weapon which is linked to Saint Marcus Mars has got something to do with the environment, and so on. This could be a hidden reason to why the Gorosei are so important and how they're able to know of Imu's identity. And I also think that Figarland Garling is aware of Emu's existence. Now why do I think this? Because the moon is a satellite of the earth, and it also has an important connection with the earth's oceans, which we know Emu also has a connection to through his name. It's possible that the Figarland family helped out the Nerona family during the Void Century. But the reason why the Figarlands don't hold a seat amongst the Gorosei is because of what I was saying earlier. The moon was not held in as high as a regard as the other planets were in Roman mythology. So instead, the Figarlands were placed just below the Gorosei. I mean, they're still living good. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap up this video. My last video was a few weeks ago, and that's because I went on holiday. But now I'm back, so you can expect to see weekly content again. If you want me to go over a topic or a theory, then let me know in the comments. Anyways, I'm gonna end this video here, and I'll see you guys next time.